All right, let's learn how to use ControlNet Inpainting. This is a little bit more advanced and it's much more globally consistent when you paint something, is what I found in general. I'm just going to show you normal inpainting first, and then we'll try it with the upgrade. So this is an image, and I wanted to replace that jacket. Actually, sorry, I'm in the inpainting tab, and I'll upload it there. And then let's get rid of this jacket. I'm going to make my brush a little bit bigger. Okay. One thing just to let you know before we move on is okay, so that's empty. So what model I'm using, I found that this doesn't work with the inpainting model. It only works with the base model. I think because ControlNet was trained off those base models. So just something to keep in mind, because normally you would use this like SDU v1.5 inpainting model. All right, so I want this to be a blue jacket, and in terms of what I want to do, I'll probably want to click latent noise. The reason why is it's going to fill it with noise rather than filling it with the original colors. So that is going to be helpful because when you're changing colors, then it will just stay too close to the original. I'm going to do only masked, just because I'm just talking in my prompt about that specific masked region. And I'll keep this as Euler A, that's fine. And denoising, I'll keep it 0.75 just to see what we get. I'm going to hit generate. Okay, and it's almost finished generating. And it looks crap, right? This isn't very good. It's not very consistent with the overall image, yeah, and that's pretty standard. Just to prove to you that it's not necessarily just because I did only masked, let me just generate this again with a whole picture. And that's still more globally consistent, but it's not quite right. It doesn't line up very well. This is like I guess like a cool biker jacket or something, and then it's kind of smudged on the lines here. It's not very globally consistent. Okay, so all we have to do for inpainting is with the ControlNet, we need to install it. So if we go to extensions, available, load from, and then you just want to search for ControlNet, and then you should be able to see it in here. And it is SD Web UI ControlNet. And you just click install and then refresh. Okay, we're going to go back, and you have to make sure we're still in the inpainting tab. We still have our same mask, and all our settings are the same, but then we're just going to bring down the ControlNet, and we're just going to hit enable here, and then we're going to choose the original picture, and that kind of gives it a bit more understanding of what's going on. And we have enable here, and we click the inpaint model. If you don't have this, you need to download it, and that you can get from if you go to the extension, you search for ControlNet, you click, you can go to the original, and then if you just look for models, it'll tell you where to get all the models. These are all the different models, and the pickle files are the ones you want, and in particular you want this inpaint one. So you just download that, and then you can drop it into extensions. Here we go, extensions, and then Web UI ControlNet, and then models, and here we go. This is where you drop them. Okay, so that's, hopefully you have everything installed and we're ready, and you can just refresh if it's not showing up now. But we have the inpaint global harmonious is the processor we want. That works best, and then just the model that you downloaded, you can refresh this. And everything else you could keep the same. I'm going to choose here, my prompt is more important because I want it to change the color, and then it just has this as just resize, because it should be the same size, shouldn't make a difference, but that's the same setting I have on resize mode here. All right, let me click generate and we'll see what we get. Okay, it's almost done. All right, I think this is better, right? Like it's more visually interesting, and it's not as out of keeping with the image. I would say just maybe we could just say a plain blue jacket. And then the other thing we could do, I think we can, like, one thing you can get away with ControlNet is you can ramp up the denoising quite a bit, right? Like you can have it even to 1 if you want to, and then hit generate. Okay, it's generating. The benefit of denoising is it's adding a lot of fuzz to the image, a lot of the kind of like random noise that Stable Diffusion predicts against. And when you do normal inpainting, that denoising really goes wacky, causes huge issues. But when you have ControlNet, it still has a grasp of what the original image was. So it's a really good kind of tug of war between those two things. You can see that's the original image and this is the new one. And I think this is a great result, right? Like obviously you can keep working on this and tailor certain parts of it. Like once you have this, you can actually then say send to Inpaint, and then here it is, and then you can keep going with it if you want. But process in general, though, one thing I find is that ControlNet Inpainting is so good that whenever you start using it, it's probably going to be all that you use for inpainting. It's like almost as good as Adobe Generative Fill, except obviously you have way more control. It's worth checking out. I hope it's useful for you too.